Final Fantasy XVI. 6 years after the last numbered episode, the saga returns to our consoles and seeks to hit hard. Final Fantasy XVI wants to bet on its rich universe, its strong characters as well as its impressive sequences featuring invocations. No more technological worlds and car rides, since this FF will return to its roots with a more classic heroic fantasy universe. A very serious candidate for the title of Best JRPG of the Year 2023. Game available on PS5. Baldur's Gate 3. 20 years. Baldur's Gate 3 has been long overdue for over 20 years. Salvation finally comes from the Belgian studio Larian, already at work behind the 2 Divinity Original Sin. With its immense heritage, BG3 will have to be the ultimate CRPG, the one that will have to come as close as possible to the paper role-playing experience. The pressure on developers is therefore immense and for the moment, early access, available since 2020, is very reassuring. Will we have the right to a new classic of the genre? We hope so. Don't panic if you haven't played the previous games, this part will only be a spiritual sequel with its own story. Game available on PC. Alan Wake 2. Released in 2010, the first Alan Wake had marked the history of video games with its extraordinary atmosphere and its story as gripping as it was well put together. 12 years later, the writer returns in new adventures. The Remedy studio, Max Payne, Quantum Break, Control, is still at the helm and we can hope for an action-adventure game that will focus on the narrative. In any case, we have been waiting a long time for this sequel. Game available on PS5, Xbox Series X, PC. Assassin's Creed Mirage. Assassin's Creed goes back to basics with Mirage. Farewell to the far too large open worlds and the hundreds of side quests, since Mirage will take place in a single city. Ubisoft's title will put us in the boots of Basim, a character already encountered in Valhalla, and will make us evolve in 9th century Baghdad. Parkour and discreet assassinations on the menu, just like in the heyday. Game available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PC. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Highly anticipated by all fans of the Maison des Idées, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 should be the big PS5 exclusive of 2023. For the moment, few details on this sequel, but we imagine that it will resume what made the success of the first part, i.e. a gigantic open world in which to flutter and classic but hard-hitting fights. Only certainty, 2 characters will be playable, Peter Parker and Miles Morales. A distinguished guest will also appear, a certain Venom. Game available on PS5. Resident Evil 4 Remake. After Resident Evil 2 and 3, it is logically Resident Evil 4 which has the right to its remake. The original game, released in 2005, shook up the small action-adventure world with nervous handheld camera gameplay. If his remake is logically less revolutionary, he will have the heavy task of giving us back the sensations of the time. Resident Evil 4 is a big game, a really big game, so this reimagining will have to live up to it. It puts us in the shoes of Leon Kennedy, a secret agent who must rescue the daughter of the President of the United States held in an isolated village. Game available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PC. Starfield. Starfield wants to sign the revival of Bethesda, become an important license for the next decade. A crazy bet from the developer who seeks to create the ultimate space adventure game. The title seems to take up the winning formula of the Elder Scrolls and the latest Fallout to transpose it into a hard SF universe. The promise is gigantic. Hundreds of worlds to explore, thousands of quests to complete, a colossal open world and impressive graphics. Starfield has all the cards in hand to become one of the next great classics of video games. It only remains to transform the test. Game available on PX, Xbox Series X. Diablo IV. Evil is back. 11 years after Diablo 3, Blizzard brings us back to Sanctuary in an opus as dark as it is ambitious. The change is significant compared to the previous parts. We abandon the structure and levels for an open world which promises to be immense. The developer has already announced that great care would be taken in the endgame, that is to say the content accessible at the maximum level, with various events and new features added regularly. Diablo 4 wants to reclaim its crown for best hack and slash and let it be known. Game available on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. 5 years have passed since Fallen Order and our Cal Kestis, who has taken a little bottle, must face a new threat. The game promises to be in line with the previous one. That is to say a clever mix of genres with the emphasis on a labyrinthine level design. There will also be new features, such as the possibility of using mounts or slowing down time. Fallen Order had created the surprise in 2019, Survivor must confirm. One of our most anticipated games of 2023, hands down. Game available on PS5, Xbox Series X, PC. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. All the members of the editorial staff have their favorite game, the one they expect the most for 2023. However, there is one that everyone agrees on, the one that consistently ends up at the top of the list. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Is it really a surprise? How to succeed the Breath of the Wild slap? This is the challenge for Nintendo, and what a challenge. In any case, the trailer suggests the same formula, but pushed to its climax. The great novelty could reside in 2 levels of open world, a terrestrial world as well as a celestial world. The manipulation of time could also be at the heart of the gameplay. In any case, we will be there on D-Day, and you? Game available on Switch.